Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Fellow Kenyans, welcome to Good Morning Kenya. My name is Victor Olo. I hope you had a great weekend. I had a good one. Karibu sana to the program. This is KBC Channel 1 and you're right on time for Good Morning Kenya, where we start your day the best way we know how. Please tell us how you spent your weekend, what was good about it, what was interesting about it, what was sad about it. All right, that is part and parcel of life. But we thank God that we are here once again on this 14th day of July 2025 and ready to hit the ground running for the new week. Okay, so a lot is happening in the country, so to speak, and today I want us to take a look. And before that, Vivian is here. Yeah, she's here.
Good morning,
Director, 1, 2, 3, go, boom, yes.
Yes,
nice.
I'm right here, Victor. Good morning. I hope your weekend was amazing. Mike, how was your weekend?
Mine was absolutely fantastic.
I know if there are a lot that are extremely elated at this point or starting this new week has to be Chelsea fans after their win yesterday against PSG.
Yes.
And apparently they have made history, you know, becoming the first European club to win every major international title, you know, from the UCL, Europa League, and all those other cups that they usually play for. So Chelsea fans, good morning to you.
I only know of two Chelsea fans. Mato and Muhika.
You only know of two Chelsea fans?
Only two.
Actually, unajua Muhika is our head producer, GMK. So anasema hapa tukikosa kuongea mambo ya Chelsea, hii kipindi takwisha.
So Muhika, isikwishe. We've talked about Chelsea.
And we have congratulated you guys.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
So tuone tu rumor, tuendelee. All right? Yeah, but again, that was quite unprecedented because having in mind how PSV thrashed Real Madrid just a few days ago. And here we are, given some good goals within no time.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Nobody expected that to happen. In fact, what wengine walikuwa wanasema PSG kichwa.
Watu wa odds, sijui nini.
Yeah, 2.5.
Yeah.
1.5. Better you can vibaya. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, but it's a good way to start off the week.
Absolutely. So I think that's just what a build up to the new season coming.
Yeah.
That is the EPL, one of the toughest leagues in the world, English Premier League, starting in the next few weeks, 3 weeks in August. So we are here again. So what do you expect to event today?
Today we are expecting a lot on the show, as is the usual. Of course, you'll be getting us through your discussion with your panel, with your panelists that will be here. I'm sure you'll be tackling matters IEBC. We got the commissioners being sworn in, or, you know, they took over right now. We have the IEBCs there. We're expecting by-elections for several constituencies. And I bet you'll be getting into that and we get to just hear everything concerning that. And today being Monday, we'll also be having Family Check. And on Family Check, we'll be looking at raising the next generation, how to go about raising the next generation, getting to understand child development and everything surrounding that. And joining me will be one Reverend Elizabeth Obat, who is an educator, a theologian, and a trainer as well. We'll also be having Patrick Minor, also known as Might, who is a trainer, a mentor, and the CEO of Pro Mentors Africa. That conversation will be coming to you at exactly 9 a.m. Mike, what will you be having today?
Indeed, there's a lot in store, and today we are talking matters to do with environment and focusing on incentivizing the fight against pollution within the Lake Basin, and we are concentrating on Lake Victoria. Remember that Lake Victoria is the world's second largest freshwater lake. So we're going to look at that, and I'll be talking to to one lady, that is Victoria Adwet, who is a speaker, and Kisumu Youth Wash Project. And also I'll be talking to Ghana Fuhog, who is the chair and initiator of Lake Victoria Green Initiative. They will be joining me here, not here live in studio, but all the way from Norway. That is, Ghana will be joining me live from Norway, and Adwet will be joining me live from Kisumu. So that is a conversation that you want to tune in. It will be coming to you immediately after our political segment. Yes.
Absolutely. So today we'll be talking about that issue. Let's talk about what's happening in the country. We have got several by-elections which actually supposed to be held in the country. That is part of the mandate that IEBC now has to take care of. We've had so many constituencies, so many wards in the country without any substantive representation following the demise, or some of them court nullifying their elections. And Odoyo Wili, who is a political analyst, will be here. George Kithi, who is an advocate of the High Court, Wakili, will be here, and Daniel Orogo, political analyst. Let's talk about that. What is the next way forward for IEBC and the team chaired by Edung Ethekon, who is the chairperson of that commission? That conversation happening right up. But right about now, what if we take a quick break? Then we circle back and start our discussion right away. Stay with us.
Hello, fabulous ladies. Welcome to the talk show that's all about sisterhood, empowerment, and unfiltered conversation. We will be focusing on women. We believe in women.
We are really changing.
We are creating a safe space for women to connect, thrive, and share.
Just because you're a woman on a bike, you're labeled in a certain way.
It's not just a talk show, it's a movement.
When they are standing, we need to stand out.
From heartwarming tales to hilarious adventures.
They could ask me, Catherine, why are you learning?
We are turning the spotlight on women who are breaking barriers in their individual fields.
You have to have a vision. You are the leaders of Kenya today.
Keeping it honest and relatable.
Mental health is real.
Yes.
Where there is no communication, there is no relationship.
Join the sisterhood on KBC TV for Dada's show.
Nimeona nini? Nimeanza kuona mapaka shumi, masenga o ng'ombe.
I am watching my weight.
Tume ni official tu na hakuna kitu buda.
Na mbona unakaa kama mtu ameuza shamba ya babio ukakula pesa yote?
Unanivurutia nini kama ng'ombe?
Mjana vivi. Kadonge alibaje nini? Why?
Kuna mtu amekuja akakula ndio akaileta hapa. Hivi ni sawa kweli?
Vitimbi hotel iko na pepo.
Nasema mimi ni pastor. Na nasema nimekuja
unakuja unatengeleza.
Kutoa mapepo kwa hotel.
Nini man?
Got the fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine every single Monday only on KBC Channel 1. Remember, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably never happened.
Dad.
I thought umetoka naye kwa airport.
Airport?
Is she okay? Did you see her?
Nancy, as I speak to you, Joy is on his way here. Jill, I need to bail.
What? Why? Kwani Glenn amejua?
I need you to talk to Glenn and that watchman guy.
You look so unsettled.
Who, me? Unsettled? No, I'm fine.
Joel, you will refer to me as your father.
And Lamin Camara with his first career goal.
Ni muda wa kuhesabu kwa ajili ya kusherekea fasili na asili ya soka barani Afrika, ligi za ndani na magwiji wasiotambulika.
Mangeni Alvin anaichanja ndani uzuri, David!
Michuano ya CAF ya mataifa ya Afrika 2024 ni njia ya kuzindua kupanua mtandao wa wachezaji ulimwenguni. Timu itakayoshinda itazawadiwa dola za Marekani milioni 3.5 pamoja na kujivunia kulinyanyua kombe hilo. Pata manufaa zaidi kutoka kwa CHAN 2024 mubashara na kipute cha kipekee kwenye runinga ya KBC Channel 1, mwenzio wa dhati michezoni.
All right, welcome back to the program. Now let's get into the discussion now. The time now is 2 minutes past 7 a.m. on this beautiful Monday, the 14th of July 2025. Welcome to the program. Let's talk about the issue at hand, and we've been waiting for this for far too long as a country, and now we can confirm that was done last week, that we have got IEBC is now a full house, and now that calls for a lot of things to be happening in the country, starting with by-elections. We have got a lot of things to do with the delimitation of the boundaries, gazettement of vacancies, setting election timelines, etc., etc., and logistical preparations ahead of the 2027 general election. And of course, we have got the procurement processes that is needed, voter registration and verification, which is actually potentially conducting a fresh registration drive, and also just trying to upload the voter register in the affected areas, and so much more. We want to take a look at that. And now, what is in the basket for the IEBC led by Commissioner Chair, that is Edung Ethekon, who is the chairperson. Let me start by introducing my guest, Odoyo Wedi, who is a political analyst, joining me on set. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother, and good morning, Kenyans.
Karibu sana. Let me start with you. The month of June has been a very tough one. Before we get into the discussion, what are some of the key highlights that you picked in the month of June, May, June, until here we are today? I think that is the month that really tested our patience as a country.
Actually, what made me unhappy most was July 25th.
Yes. Because
Kenyans set out to go to the streets to commemorate last year's Gen Z protest.
Right.
And in the end, we lost very many people. We destroyed a lot of property, and Kenyans became more divided. We did not learn from that, and we repeated the same thing on Sabasaba, and the script was the same. So it is time that Kenyans know that we do need peace for growth, economic growth, educational growth, and every other growth that this country needs as one of the youngest countries in the world. And I think as Kenyan also, we must learn to live together. It is increasingly becoming well known that there are biasness in handling matters of society in this country. And that was born in June.
Okay, so that's what's really happened. And of course, we had a new finance bill. We have a new act in place now. The 2025-2026 budget is here.
I think the budgets in this country have always been there every year. in June, and there was a lot of heat the previous year. And when I compare the finance bills that we have had before, the difference was very small. So to me, the heat on the finance bill last year, I think it was orchestrated by interested parties. Whatever they were interested in, I do not know up to today. This year it was silent because I think the government was prepared that could happen, and they were prepared with the necessary answers. I think the previous year they had assumed it will flow like it has flown over the years. But little did they know, around the corner, there were people waiting for them to attack. Yes.
Okay. Let's wait and see what's going to happen. And okay, so a quick one before I bring in Wakili, Judge Kithi. We have got the new commissioners now. This was long coming, and now we can say that IEBC is fully constituted. Let me get to your point at this point. It's been a matter that Kenyans have been waiting for far too long. But in your own opinion, what do you think is now in the basket for the commissioners?
I think they have more that probably they can't handle if they don't pull up their socks. Because there's the limitation of boundaries, voter registration, and I think many, many more housekeeping issues in that process. In fact, I was wondering why so many other people were trying to sabotage the setup of IEBC as it went on. Because Kenyans behave like those commissioners are able to determine who becomes the president and who does it. It is the voters who do it. And the system that has been put in the voting in Kenya, the commissioners have very little input in it unless they just want to be rogue. You remember in the previous parliamentary term, there were 4 commissioners who were largely appointed by the Uhuru and Raila Odinga axis. And they came in and they appeared in the public eye to be pro those 2 gentlemen, but they could not sway the results of the elections. So I think commissioners, people who largely stay at the headquarters and are only there on policy issues, I think they cannot affect the results of election outcomes. Considering the system that have been put, every election station, of course, there are agents for every party. There are forms that are failed that are handed over to every party, transmitted. So when you interfere with one, the other one will make you be known that you have actually interfered with this. So people are putting so much effort on who becomes the commissioners and who doesn't become. I think they should concentrate on getting their own votes and winning this election on issues. Yes.
I don't think, is it people putting pressure on IEBC to win elections, or it was expected? Because if you look at now the time that we have, 2.5 years to go, perhaps every competitor in the political field would put pressure on the referee.
Of course, people who lose matches always blame the referees. But I think your effort in playing will earn you the goals rather than trying to blame the referees. One thing also we must know, we must understand, that the commission has just come to provide the legal aspect of those decisions. But the secretariat has always been there. Probably even the template for delimiting the boundaries are already in place. Most of these things must be in place. So the commissioners are just coming to validate it, to some extent even to rubber stamp it. They can debate on it where there are issues and then take it forward. But there has been a secretariat before. So don't let us not behave like the commissioners have come late, so everything is late.
You think so?
I think so.
Of course, we've had this issue for far too long, but then now the commissioners have come too late. That issue of public participation, if you really wanted to have the delimitation, because it's a legislative process, and it would involve going across the country, taking views, public participation, etc., etc. So you're saying that the delimitation process took place behind the scenes?
No, I'm not saying it took place. The template, you remember? I kept out their template. Now, if they have had that template and they want to do public participation, it can be done. Public participation is not something that is going to be done over a long period of time. And it in different parts of the country. But also remember, those public participation results are not entirely binding to the commission. the commission will do what is right, considering what the people have suggested. But they are not binding, because you will find a place where 100 people are suggesting something different from the other 100. So what are you going to do? That is why the commission is there to make decisions. Yes.
Okay. Wakil George Kithi, advocate of the High Court of Kenya, is also here. Wakil, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you after quite some time.
Yeah, it's been quite...
Missed you too. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
How is Kenya doing?
Kenya is doing well. Kenya is doing very well.
Yes.
It's doing very well because Kenyans have set up for themselves.
Yeah.
When we were at the university, went through the same transition. Same time, and there's a bit of friction with the government at that time. That settled at a point. Unfortunately, of course, some of the students, we lost some of the students, we lost certain people, but we have a certain latitude of progressive constitution, a certain latitude of progressive environment in terms of liberties. Those liberties are unavailable to certain people in this part of Africa. Having said that, a generational uprising such as we have, I don't want to call it an uprising per se, but the voices and the decibel of their voices are heard higher than they have been heard before, is on account of the fact that there is a certain reorganization of society that needs to be identified. And I like what Right Honorable Raila Odinga said the other day, that we need to discuss with the youth. President Uhuru Kenyatta, during his term, was very vocal on the youth agenda and used to say, these are people that we need to deal with somehow in terms of providing for an environment to anchor their living and give them hope. That's the same thing that we're facing today. They need the hope. If there was substantial promise of hope, they will probably be confronting issues that are facing them differently. Violence is never the first option of a human person. A person ordinarily is skewed towards self-preservation. That's the thing. By the time you move into self-defense and an act of violence, there's a provocation or an environment that beholds that position. So what I propose, what I think will be one is an agenda that can be wished away. The past 2 months of an active agenda in the country on the youth should not be drawn under the carpet. It should be an agenda on economics. It should not be an agenda on development. It should be an agenda on the politics of the day. Number two is, what is their voice within the political space? And I do think that they have all been given the latitude that they represent themselves.
Yes.
You see, the question of representation has been the fiefdoms that we've created in our constituencies and wards and counties. But then there's an emerging trend of what representation will be, which is generational. That it doesn't matter who you put as a governor, as a senator, as a women rep. There must be then an account of what you do to a certain section of society, meaning the youth. And therefore, also, the question of representation could be, we could be overrepresented in terms of fiefdoms of the geographical separations that we have. But on account of the youth, who we know that most of them are urbanites in growth. They've been born and brought up probably in the urban areas. Those that are in the rural areas also have an association with the urban movement of the youth on account of how they organize themselves around the social media space. And therefore, how the youth are organized in the manner in which they're already organized by government, by society, is an important thing on how they are accounted for in representation in government, in the hope that we would want to offer them. And therefore, eventually, it's an issue that has to be addressed, because if it is not, then the agitation for their voice to be heard and the decibel can only be growing higher and higher, especially as we go to the frictious environment of the electoral cycle, which is determining probably in the next few months, probably less than 24 months. Coming back to the question of the constitution of IEBC, it's a very good thing for the country. the IBC probably is beholden to higher calling more than the politicians that we hear every day running us.
Yeah.
The reason is they then give us a platform. If done to the ideals of the law and the constitution, then we have for ourselves the cycle of, you know, the possibility and the right, exercise of the right to elect the people that should be speaking for us. And that's representation. Why we have the problem sometimes that we have, including today, is because we have complaints on the representations that we have. Suffice it to say that the ideas of democracy and probably the hegemony, the national psyche itself is anchored intrinsically in IEBC. We should respect the fact that IEBC has not been put into place. What we should be asking of IEBC now is that they should be beholden to the law and the constitution. We're not even asking for much. What does the law say? Do it as it says, not at the whim of any politician. It doesn't matter who the leadership is. It doesn't matter where you come from. You just do what ought to be done in the calling of the law as IEBC. It is that simple for me. The bucket full is not a bucket full on account of what they want to do. It is because the law says so. So they should do what the law says and not what they would wish to do for the people. Actually, not do a single thing more, not do a single thing less. They should just within the law.
To the constitution and the law.
That's it.
Okay, let's bring in Daniel Orogo. Daniel Orogo, political analyst and a friend of Good Morning Kenya. For far too long, he disappeared. You just have to tell us where you went to. I mean, it can never be like that. Dan, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. It's a pleasure to see you, Akili. I am glad that he says he's also taken a lot of time to be on set.
Exactly.
So it's a pleasure.
I did get that memo.
Yeah, meeting the panel and Odoyo video as well.
Yes.
So it's always a pleasure to be here this morning.
Karibu, karibu.
Asante.
So we are here. The IBC is now full house. We are happy. Are you happy?
Well, mixed reaction for me. It's like, of course, the way my colleague has alluded to, and my colleagues as well. The daunting task now to rebuild the public trust.
Yes.
And I think that is the elephant in the room right now, that we've had the concept of election before as antagonistic, the concept of election before as violent. And that every time we approach an election period, there is a heightened tension in terms of whether our votes should really count or whether count our votes is the one that counts. So I think that there had been a lot of contestation with regards to the independence of the commission as, you know, the first word of the Independence Electoral and Boundaries Commission. And of course, the idea that elections are compromised based on whoever recruited or whoever appointed the commissioners. And so like you saw when they were being sworn in, and the CJ was very clear that, you know, you now have to be custodians of the Kenyan democracy that has been ailing for a long time. That the commissioners has to restore the public trust that waned for a long time. And so for me, it is a matter of also wait and see, because like before, the constitution and the reconstitution of the commission has been an issue of a political interference, the lack of independence in the commission, which is very critical to the health and democracy of this country. So for me, I may not really give it a stamping, you know, sense of confidence, but also to look at. But there seems to be a progress. I mean, we just heard that there's an, you know, internal nomination or democracy amongst them, you know, with the election of Madam Fatima. It's got from Madam Fatima.
Yes.
Abdallah Arafat,
Fahim,
you know,
Abdallah,
as the deputy, and she's young, probably giving confidence, a symbolism to young people that, you know, it is possible to have young people in this office. So I think it's a matter of also wait and see. But as Wakili has mentioned, would we see a debate that is torn in between playing a political relevance and playing a constitutionalism, you know, with regards to the rule of law in the operations of the commission? Because now the commission is fully operational.
Yes.
Now it is not a matter of institutional vacuum. It is a matter of the strength on the constitutionality of the constitution, but equally the strength on how they would wade in between the murky waters of, fulfilling, the political interests that are so diverse and sometimes are so strong within the commission. I think that is where we are.
Let me ask you all of this question: how do you advise the commission to handle itself so differently from other commissions that we've had? We had the Kivitu Commission, we had Isaac Hassan Commission, and now we had the Chebukati Commission. Now we have Ethicon Commission. So, from your own experience, because you've all been in these electoral processes in one way or another, how would you advise the commission to handle the commission differently, or even the electoral process? Starting with you, Doyle.
I think we are putting too much emphasis on the commission. Election systems are such a process that begins from such a long time, all the way in registration of voters until it comes to voting day, until it goes to... Actually, it just ends at the commission headquarters. That is where the commissioners physically interacts with the election system. Nevertheless, what they say and the decisions they make, countdown to the election, also must give the public confidence. That I must say. But putting emphasis that if your people are there, people who favor you, that you are going to win, that is not possible. The system we put is foolproof even to those commissioners. Those commissioners, even if your brother is there, it cannot make you win an election. It cannot. Because it is a system that is managed. Just like in government, the president is not everywhere. He can't decide what the police do in one station or the other. It will finally end with him, but he can't control every wing of that. So are the commissioners. But I think they must learn to be unanimous. This is the problem we have had in the past, especially in the last general election, when we had some 4 commissioners rebel. But I think when you look at it backwards, then you remember when they were recruited, who presided over their recruitment, and then you know they were most likely bound to favor the axis that recruited them. But I think the chairman needs to put his commissioners together now that they were recruited together to give the people of Kenya confidence to talk a language that is unity, to talk a language that would lead to peace. Because another election debacle in this country is not acceptable anymore. We saw what it did to us in the past, in the 2007, what I still today call an electoral coup. We can't go there one more time.
Okay. Wakili.
Well, I think the calling here is, I think justice needs not only be done, but it must be seen to be done. Because, you see, when you're doing a just thing, it must be communicated as such. It must be seen as such. It must be packaged as such. It must be consumed as such. There must be a communication between the receiver of justice and the giver of justice. So, notwithstanding what you do, you must live within the four corners of the calling of the high office that you occupy, especially because you are managing democracy and leadership of the country. And basically, the entire social edifice that defines the country. Why I say so is because the previous problems we've had with the electoral bodies as constituted by the people who are appointed to it is because they created within the conduct a perception of bias. And that perception of bias then grows to a disaffection of the people, and therefore they will reject the result notwithstanding the entire result, because the process itself is questionable. And I say this because we say, you see, the result is important, but the process towards the result is also important. And the person holding the office is equally important in the manner in which the person behaves. So an electoral officer cannot then pronounce himself, behave in a manner of bias towards someone, and expect us that the results will be divorced from the manner in which that person has behaved. So for this body, it's not just doing what the law says. is behaving in a manner that befits the calling of that office in private and in public, such as that how you associate yourself with people, how you carry yourself, because this is a high-octane emotionalized process. The electoral process is very emotive, extremely emotive. In fact, I always say, the Kenyan we are talking to today, including myself and you, and the Kenyan that votes, those are two different people. The emotional Kenyan who votes has this divisive element of fissures, obviously called upon by democracy, because democracy calls us within 5-year cycle to bias ourselves for or against someone. In a sense, therefore, we are called upon to divide ourselves to get a result of a leader. And that is not anchored in any law. We say, if it's because he gave you money, vote for him. Because he was your classmate, vote for him. If because you are related with him by marriage, by blood, by tribe, ethnicity, still vote for him. It's still legal. There's nothing illegal about that. Because it's a choice based on a certain emotion within you.
Yeah.
Now, that then is a conversion of sorts at the height of it when you're casting the vote. You are casting it because you want it to count. And it's an emotion. Because you have a 5-year cycle within which to live with that decision. Cumulatively, that bias, if biased as similar to others, then gives you a result for you or against what you think is a decision. So a voter thinks that he has lost because the person who he voted for did not get the seat, and therefore he thinks he's lost or she thinks she's lost. That's the perception of the voter. So it has to be carried with the emotion that is called upon at the end of it, whether here or US or whatever democracy of an election. Eventually, it becomes emotive. And at times, it becomes as frictious as I've seen in the US and other countries. By the way, it could mean the holding of the social edifice as is, or breaking it completely at times. We've seen it in 2007 and 2008. At times, also the legitimacy of it is called upon because of the behavior of the people. Legitimacy is not the law. Law can be the pronouncement legally of who the winner is. That's the law. But how people accept the pronouncement is the legitimate effect of the law, which means this. Eventually, you must have the legitimacy to rule the people. The people must accept that, yes, we voted and you are the leader, notwithstanding whether you are pronounced or not. So legitimacy, therefore, is the ability to rule the people, notwithstanding what the law has said.
That's also emotional.
Yes, that itself is emotive.
Let me just bring Dan here before we take a break. Dan, imagine sitting in that commission, and based on what Wakili said, probably you went back to the Maraga ruling, the process.
Yes.
All right? The process. I think that was your background.
Yes.
But then looking at that, it's more of an emotional kind of process, the way he's putting it again, but the legal aspect is also put in place. So,
and the political aspect.
And the political aspect. So,
I mean, the electoral commission is, you know, there are all these emotions from the voters and coming out from sometimes a heightened electoral campaign process. And the expectations of delivery on free, fair, and credible elections. And like Wakilia said, whether it is free or credible or fair, beholds, it is in the eye of the voter, and not really what sometimes the commission is expected to do. And you know, the perception on how we, you know, accredit the electoral commission is based on our perception, on what probably sometimes the outcome that is free, fair, and credible is, according to us. But you've asked a very critical question. If I was to advise the, you know, the Hackathon Commission on what then would be done differently, but you see, it is a constitutional commission. It is a commission that must carry out its conduct according to the Constitution. And that's why I said the wings, the strong arm of political arm twisting that comes, that sometimes tries to, you know, destabilize them, even as they pursue the constitutional mandate. Sometimes it really becomes so heavy. But, Victor, the election evaluation report of 9th of August 2022 on general elections, this was done by the now the deceased chair, Chebukati Commission. I think just after the elections, they did an evaluation report. And I think they could have handed it over, and they probably handed it over to the Secretariat. And this is what the Eckington Commission probably is picking up on. Recommendations of that report. Appoint the IEBC commissioners at least 2 years before the election is done. Have we appointed this commission at least 2 years? The answer is yes or no. They are within, they are appointed within. So I think you can see that there is a fast tracking, particularly of that recommendation. This was done by the Chebukati Commission. Another recommendation is that enhance the engagement of the parliament in terms of coming up with some proposals.
Yeah.
With regards to, there was an issue about, IEBC fund, and I think we should also debate what is this fund about. If there was probably an allocation of, financially what this, fund needs to do within the commission. There are a number rafts of recommendations, including enhancing efficiency with regards to, digitalization of the operations of the commission. So if you're asking me what I would advise, I would advise the commission, please stick to the dictates of the law. And secondly, look at the evaluation report that was done by your predecessors. Yeah. Because they saw exactly what happened. Chebukati, I think, should be, how many elections does it? Two elections. Okay. So probably he has got experience on the recommendations.
You're on number two.
I think that is important.
You're on number 2 done?
Yes.
Okay, number 3 is we take a break.
Don't
I need
worry.
to serve you tea.
I saw that coming.
All right, let's just take a quick break. Serve tea, and then I'll come back so that you can continue with the recommendations as well. But there's also something which is important, the gender balance that is witnessed here. 3 women, with the woman being a vice chair, which is a very good thing. Let's take a look at that when we come back shortly. Stay with us.
Greetings in the name of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice,
we have to do it twice.
Welcome back. So I promised to come back with Dan. Dan, number 3, continue.
Oh,
sorry. So the recommendations, you had recommendation number 1, number 2 from the lead chair.
Yeah, I think I had mentioned that there was a recommendation to enhance engagement with Parliament, to fast track the proposed amendments. That is also to enhance collaboration with stakeholders. And this is what I was saying is important to diversify the concept of civic education, because this is also one of the aspects. You see, when IEBC has got a sole cardinal authority to carry out continuous voter education, so does that mean that civil society or other instituted stakeholders cannot do it? So I think there could be a discussion whether for a Kenyan population, especially now that we are talking about young people being, new voters in the voter register, then is it important for other stakeholders, the media, the civil society, the religious institutions, to also assist on carrying out, civic education and voter engagement. So another very important one is to strengthen access on the tallying centers. This has become also a bone of contention. You remember during the vote tallying, and the differences within, the numbers that always comes. When it comes to voter tallying and voter, during the voter relaying. So they're even recommending that could we have an IEBC center that is different and taken out of anniversary towers. And I think you've seen the chair talking about the establishment of Uchaguzi Center, which I also think is important, because sometimes when the politicians are frustrated about the outcome, and now they rally, they mobilize the masses. Remember, the IEBCs must go, Chebukati must leave. There is always a consistent onslaught, at the anniversary towers. Yeah. And so the commission, I think it's not even the Ekathon. I think Ekathon might have now been picking from recommendations. And I agree with him that there needs to be an independent center for IEBC. That they established a place and then probably acquire the building, the property, or construct an IEBC center where it could be safeguarded from constant onslaught. But finally, Victor, why is it taking us long to digitize our elections and our vote tallying system, to operationalize the electoral processes, apart from just acquiring KIMS kit and BVR kits? Could we upgrade and probably think about having election outcome that is so digitalized, that is so secured? I know guys will fault me about the Kamango issues and all these things, people who are, the opening of the servers issue. But could we have our election digitalized so that we are not constantly thinking that an individual within the commission might have interfered with the process. Yeah. Yet it is digitalized and is, interference proof. So I think these are conversations that we actually should be looking at right now, even as we think about the by-elections, even as we think about, the delimitation of boundaries,
But again, that would also call for another improved infrastructure. I mean, some places do not even get proper network. I don't know whether Kwale has proper network, Wakili.
No, it doesn't.
So you'll be disadvantaged when you get to that point. Okay, so let's talk about the issue of gender parity now. You talked about it ought to be the other way around.
Yeah, we've seen. Let me say this from consumption of the services.
But I think let me just give the rundown before you come to that.
Yes.
For just put in context with the chair. We have got Edung Ethekon, who is the chairperson of the commission. We have got Fahima Abdallah, who is the chairperson. And now we have got commissioners Anjeri Nderitu, Moses Atulalala Mukhwana, and Mary Karen Sorobit. Last but not least, Hassan Nur Hassan, and finally Francis Odhiambo Aduol. We have got 3 ladies and 4 gents in that commission.
That's Mary and Fahima.
Yes, we have got Mary, Anne and Fahima. Yes. 3.
Interesting to say. Could we also, as Wakili comes in, are you able to establish the regional representation as well?
Why not? Go ahead.
No, that would be hard, because I know some of them. Etoken, for instance, was behind me in college. Obviously, today when you talk of regional representation, it's very tricky. I'm from Kilifi. Largely all my life is in Nairobi. So where is my region in terms of workspace? Obviously, it's Nairobi, right? So the context of regional representation now is a fallacy. It is true that when we come to actual election and representation, you must represent where you come from. Yeah. But when it comes to national issues like this, probably we identify them with the names. If it's a Kip, then we know it's Kalenjin or something. If it's Njoroge. But the truth is, where you are socialized in terms of your day-to-day running of affairs will be more important than where you've come from, because some have abandoned, okay, not abandoned, but left their homes a long time ago, probably even in primary schools.
Our name is important.
Yes. but again, I must say, the name becomes important because the law prescribes regional representation as a factor in consideration for appointments to public affairs. So it's still a consistent thing. Maybe in the next few phases of election cycle, probably in 30, 50, it won't be an issue. We've seen how, for instance, the Gen Zs are organized, such as that a name wouldn't be identical to how they are, clamoring for change or whatever they do. And maybe we will get there. And I hope soon we won't have to have a tribe as an identity for reward or merit, as is presupposed now. However, at the judiciary, we've gotten at a place that probably those that sit in the composition of the magistrates and judges, it's either equal or the female would be more than the male. Now, looking at what the judiciary is today and how it was before, there's definitely an improvement of service delivery. I'm not talking about quality. I'm talking about the calling of the day for public service delivery to the people. It could be reached. You can reach courts more. We actually can do it even online. I feel I'm being served better in the judiciary, not because the female are more, but because we feel more organized, probably better organized than we were before. I must therefore say that it is not just the men who can do it. The women can also do it. So when we talk about equality and equity in terms of gender representation, it is not what members of parliament do in terms of refusing to identify that and make it 50-50. It should be some commonplace in everywhere that we have public space, such as that we don't have to have a debate on it. It ought to, the woman should never feel a woman, and the man should never feel a woman. They must feel like Kenyans. And I think the composition here of the ratio of 4:3, is good enough towards propelling us to one day having either a 50-50 or a gender surpassing, the female gender surpassing the male in composition. And the result will probably be subtle or much better, probably comfort to the consumers of services, because then the issue of being discriminated because I'm a woman or a man will be a settled issue at that time. It may never arise again. The other question that probably we need to look at is this an improvement? The way it's composed, is there perception of an improved, more settled, and a better outcome from them? I must say that there's youth, quite a bit of youth in that composition. Gender has been addressed, not quite at 50-50, but it's addressed such as then the threshold of law has been met. As to the possibility of timelines set out in law, let me put it this way. There's no law that is ideal. The law is always made available because a majority of the people through the representation in parliament feel it is good for them. So when when members of parliament vote to pass a certain legislation, it's not because every Kenyan accepts and agrees with that legislation. In any event, invariably, unless they're increasing their salaries, there's always an opposition to a certain piece of legislation because of divergent views, which is encouraged. But again, we say that the law is majoritarian in terms of its composition. So we'll have a law because majority of members of parliament passed it. So there can't be therefore an ideal law that everybody accepts it. No, we will not have that. So we don't expect the ideal, the complete ideal, in terms of the composition and even the results, because we have human error that is going to be involved in the human beings that we put into place there. But the best is, can we have the confidence? Can they give us the confidence that whatever is discharged as an outcome of the next democratic cycle of 5 years, those will be acceptable to us? Probably the minimum acceptable. Not probably the best acceptable, but the minimum acceptable. Such as that, then we can move into the next 5 years in our affairs, political affairs, economic affairs, social affairs, and whatever it is, with the comfort that we have men and women out there who are going to present us. Of course, men and women can misbehave once they're elected. That's a different issue, because that's a political system. But as to the result, can it be credible that it's the voice of the people that has been heard? And that's what we're looking for. The minimum the Kenyan is calling for today is that my vote counts, but the majority of those votes, as I have voted myself, in the majority, those win. That's really the calling. Whatever rules we put, ultimately, and by this sometimes we don't even need rules, but we need rules because we suspect that there'll be default
Somebody will misbehave somewhere.
Yes, and in fact, that's the main reason why we have rules.
Okay. Let me bring in Odoyo. Look at that ratio, 4-3 or 3-4, whichever you look at it. An improvement?
It's a clear improvement.
Yeah.
It is a dream that we have always wanted in this country. The only problem I sometimes have with it is how it is achieved. The most untalked about article in this country is Article 27. If we achieve it through discrimination and saying, here we must take a woman and leave out a man, then we are also going to compromise competence at times. It reaches a time when you have applicants that are largely men, and if there are 1 or 2 women there, they most sometimes are very incompetent from what they present. What do you do at that point? That is why my advocacy has always been, can we deliberately take long-term actions which in 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years will bring all women at par with men to compete on the same table without leaving out some seats that these are purely for women. Women have gone to the National Assembly on the basis of affirmative action, and they have been given free 47 seats. But they have never made an effort to do something that in future we would not have to do that. What are they doing to the girl child today that in future will make the girl child and the boy child compete at par for the national cake, for the social positions that are available, for the political positions that are available? Are they doing anything? Or they are satisfied that they will always be given free ride to parliament by virtue of them being women, or free ride into public position by virtue of being women? We would like to see as many women as men in public positions, even 50-50, or even sometimes women up. But how do we achieve it? In the short term, we have been trying to do affirmative action. What about in the long term? What are we doing deliberately to do it, to achieve it? Today we had a 2/3 gender rule in parliament. It has not been operationalized. And there are women lawyers in that house. They are lazy because they have their seats. But what about those who are coming behind them? So we should have a scenario where they deliberately go out of the way to operationalize that article, and if they can't do it, then we remove it from the Constitution because it is not operationalized in Parliament. So I think we are also putting too much emphasis on women, youth. Youth, let's come to it. In the spectrum, they are below the adults, right? It means whatever the adults are doing now, they will finally get there. We are behaving like youth is another tribe that has to balance with the rest. Youth are our sons. They are our daughters. And if there are certain positions in the country, for example, if you want to put a 24-year, 29-year governor today, he serves 10 years, and where does he go from there? We must also appreciate that these people holding those positions now were once youth, and those people who are youth now will also get there. And there are certain
problem with that?
And there's no problem. But when you go out of your way to say, even though we needed experience here, we still need a youth. Youth will get what the old people are getting now, and they will do very well. In fact, some positions require a lot of experience. For example, the chair of IEBC. I heard some people making noise that we needed a youth there. We can't ignore experience in life. It is the best teacher. It has taught many people. In any case, if youth are good now, in future they'll be better. And they can even handle those responsibilities much better than they would handle it at this age. I am not saying we don't consider them. When we find a youth has equal competence and qualifications as an old man, definitely you go for the youth. Definitely, because youth learn faster, they have more energy. But to come and deliberately bring a youth and leave out a very qualified, well-experienced old man because it's a youth will still get there in the future. So as much as we want a society in which people are equal as described in Article 27, we must deliberately also try not to discriminate against anybody. Not men, not women, not old women, not youth. We have to give everybody an opportunity to hold a position in this country in which he used to serve the people of Kenya.
Thank you. Let's talk about the...
I mean, that word experience is exclusionary. It's discriminative. And I think I don't let Odoyo go away with that. Because when you talk about that we do not you know, in various contexts, do not consider, because we are looking at experience, true as it sounds, but we operate on a constitutionally driven country that require an affirmative action. And it is not a debate. It is not a considerable that we can go wishy-wishy about it. While I acknowledge that indeed, sometimes experience is required, Victor, sometimes it is required and is well mentioned. But then how will the young people get experience when we are not given, or they are not given, an opportunity to do that? So I think it is important to put that in context. That while we might, in fact, a lot of advertisement requires 20 years experience, 15, 5 years experience, but it's through allowing young people, any other disadvantaged demography, you know, to be within the streamlines of this particular function, that then they get experience. Right, Victor? Because I have seen, even within the interview of the commission, we had young people who appeared on the commission. Yeah. Some of them are my friends who appeared on the interview. And as a result of that, probably because of the age factor. I remember I also heard that in a different panel, someone saying that, you see, we might require this experience to run the commission and do this. Why do you require for that experience to run commission? You negate the importance of young people, but you need to register 100 of them, millions of them as new voters. Could that be contradictory in its sense?
Let me
I think it's important also to clarify that on the set. That this word experience has been used for a very long time. You know, as a very coarse word, but is hidden in discrimination, hidden, you know, deeply hidden. So I think it's important also to...
The IEBC is also... When you look at the ward level, the constituency level, the county levels, there are so many roles that youth can, you know, can undertake.
And why not as a commissioner?
No, they are going to go in those lower places.
Okay. You know, that's a question I need myself. Why not as a commissioner?
Let me put it this way. Okay. Let me put it this way. Just for 1 minute.
Why not a commissioner?
Why not as a commissioner?
Just 1 minute.
Yes.
You see, once you train as a doctor, you must, in law, and by design, take some time and work under instruction, so that then we can trust you at the altar of a procedure to deliver. As a lawyer, you must go through certain training so that then the unsuspecting public can receive your services, and we have the confidence that you will not mislead and deliver the rights of people and protect them. Similarly, therefore, in society, the general rule is everybody ought to be equal. That's the general rule, rule of general application. But we, in law, create discriminatory clauses deliberately, discriminatory, on account of the fact that in certain areas, we cannot trust non-experienced people to deliver certain functions. For instance, a 1-year-old practicing lawyer cannot be a chief justice. The reason is you ought to have socialized yourself and apply the law over time until such that you can speak the law, write the law, and deliver on the law, because you need the experience. And therefore, a chief justice shall be that who qualifies as a judge of the High Court and shall be 15 years of experience. You see, therefore, what it means is that it's not like the lawyers, the young lawyers, cannot become chief justice. No, it's because they're going to be practiced within the years as they continue to practice the law and understand it, such as that then at 15-year experience, you are ripe for the test of whether now you can become, hold the office or not. And that's the beauty about the world. The world it is created on seasons. There's a season to be born, and you'll have to grow through it. You will then have to go to school. We can't just say because you are young, you ought to have the experience and come and start working. No. In fact, you can't get married when you're young. You have to get to 18 years for us to trust that you can drive your car, you can work, and you can get married.
So this is what I want us to do, gentlemen.
Victor, let me just clear something here. I need to explain what experience is about. You probably know that my training is education. And I have to tell you that experience is progressive. You cannot be the auditor general before you became an accountant somewhere on the way, maybe an auditor somewhere on the way, maybe you headed a department. That is the experience you need, because at certain levels, a small mistake is a big deal. So we cannot take you before your competence is proved along the chain. So better practice, get experience, then take that position. And that is also good. In fact, you would be discriminating against those who have gone experience when you give somebody with no experience a job that they should do. Where are they going to take their experience? Thank you.
I want us to do this, gentlemen. Within 5 minutes that is remaining, time flies so fast. Okay. So we have got so many by-elections pending. That is Magarini constituency. The seat fell vacant following the nullification of the 2022 election results by the High Court. The former MP is Harrison Kombe. We have got Banisa constituency. The member of parliament died in 2023 following a road accident. That's Honorable Kulo Hassan. In Ugunja constituency, the seat fell vacant because Opiyo Wandayi was elevated to a position of the CS. Malava constituency, Malulu Injendi also passed on. We also have Mbere North constituency. That is Godfrey Roku, who is now the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, and now my own constituency. And
are you vying?
No. I'm not vying, but that's my constituency back in the village. That is Kasipol, who died in April 30th. So we have got six constituencies for a by-election, and we can imagine how intense this could be. We have got so many political, temperatures rising. But gentlemen, in your own way, again, how do we make Kenya great? In your closing remarks, having this in mind with the IEBC, whatever we discussed, in summary, how do we make Kenya great? Let me start with, yes, Mwalimu.
Set
the pace.
Before I say what will make Kenya great, about the multiple by-elections that we have, it is a good testing ground for the new IEBC.
Okay.
From there, the
That's camera 4.
Sorry?
Camera 4, that's your camera.
Oh, thank you.
Right.
I was saying that in the multiple by-election that we are going to have, that I would call a micro general election, because I'm sure there are thousands of MCA positions, if not hundreds, that are going to be also on the ballot. It is an opportunity for us to test the new IEBC. And I want to warn them that whatever they do with these by-elections will determine what the people think about them in the near future. Nevertheless, you have asked us to say what would make Kenya great again. One of the biggest problems we have in this country is what I call entitlement. In this country, there are about 4 or 5 very large communities. We call them tribes in Kenya. And they feel entitled to produce presidential candidates. It is my submission that in the future, we probably need to review the constitutions. That when a community has produced a presidential candidate, they wait for 2 decades before they present another one to be elected by Kenyans. Because this is why we cannot have stability in a government which does not come from one of those communities. Right now, it is very clear that there is a bias and a clear bias against the current President, William Ruto. Thank you.
All right. How to make Kenya great. That is his own opinion.
That's mine.
He's a teacher. So if he is not so careful, he'll use so many coded language. Wakili, how to make Kenya great? Camera 2.
Thank you. Fellow Kenyans, Kenya is a great country. It is our duty for all of us to make it great and leave a place better for those that come after us. The responsibility is not about being uncaring to the environment that we have, especially the political environment. We need to be patient with each other. Patience in the sense that every opinion of another person counts, because he's one of us. No one among us chose to be Kenyans. We were Kenyans by right of birth, and whatever made us Kenyans through the legal processes. But I must submit here that we plead with Kenyans to push together for our own economic prosperity, because we have children that we cannot stop bearing. We will have children now and tomorrow and many days to come. For those that leave us, they leave us with children still being born. We need to have space for those children because they will go into youth and they'll become, they have a legitimate expression towards economic exploitation, and they must have equal chances within which they have to be employed and also be entrepreneurs. So you must have the platform upon which we either give them this, but also prepare for those that are coming, because you'll never stop. Social responsibility is important. We must also stop thinking ethnically. We are formed ethnically initially, but as we go, continue to interact and test our laws in terms of universality of application of law and human rights, we must know that whichever position you are, whether a policeman, a politician, or whatever you're serving a Kenyan and not your tribe. So we must de-ethnicize the country. And lastly, politically, we are maturing. All that is happening must form towards any society to be a better society. We must therefore tolerate each other as we picket. We must tolerate each other as we pronounce ourselves in opinions. And importantly, those in leadership, remember, you are not ordinary Kenyans. You have a higher calling to the Kenyans. Listen to the Kenyans and prioritize what they say. They are only asking that you listen to them because you are in those positions for purpose of serving Kenyans under the Constitution. Thank you, and God bless Kenya.
Thank you, and God bless Kenya. Very good and well put. Dan, your 2 minutes of fame begins right now. How do we make Kenya?
I don't know which is my camera.
Camera 2. Camera 2.
Well, I think even in less than a minute is that Justice Maraga once ruled out that we must be a country that must follow the rule of law, and that a country that is bound by the fear of God. And that makes us a strong country. So we have the rule of law and the fear of God in whatever places that we serve. And secondly, that is what makes us strong. What makes us great as a country is measured on how we handle our weakest. And our weakest here probably could be people who, cannot manage to do other things for themselves, including the young people, Victor. And while I do not want to go to the debate about young people and these, is that the greatness in the future of this country is how we handle the young people. Mm-hmm. We cannot pour, acclamations on them that they're innovators, they're inventors. But when it comes to us giving them the position to serve, then we contextualize based on experience and other things. So we must really treat our young people as leaders of now, and those that are required to carry the beacon of leadership in this country. And I think, lastly, Victor, even as we progress, is for us to reevaluate the Article 10 of the Constitution that we stand on, the values and principles of governance. We have a value as a country really spelled out. Our diversity must be a point to be exploited and appreciated, as opposed to something that takes us to extremely on a conflict and division.
Thank you very much. Okay. That is how we wrap it up. But before you go, I want to take a look at what's on the front page of the local daily. Starting on the front page of the Daily Nation, Lagat off the hook. That's what I have on the front page of the Daily Nation. Lagat off the hook. That is the Deputy Inspector General of Police. Eliud Lagat is today expected to resume office after investigations cleared him of any wrongdoing over the death of teacher cum blogger Albert Ojwang in police custody. The police chief was forced to step aside following public pressure and youth-led protests. That is what I have here on the front page of the Daily Nation. It was an act of probe. Now police boss also fighting petition in court to save his job. Raila and Gachagua, the unlikely kingmakers. We have that. On the front page of the Star, what do you have? What aggrieved Gen Z want amid broken promises? That is the front page of the Star newspaper, that is rather. What aggrieved Gen Z want amid broken promises? Unemployment and cost of living, of course, are the major concerns. And the Deputy President, Kithure Kindiki, says that Ruto needs no IEBC favors to retain the president's seat in 2027. And the top header. And of course, the Star says that they're celebrating 18 years. All right. On the front page of the Standard, Olimodoyo did not want to read for me the front page. Oh no, not again. That is on the front page of the Standard newspaper. The lady in position there is 24-year-old Julia Kariuki, who lost her life. According to, the prison services has admitted that she died in their custody, though they claim that she arrived already injured. The cold deflection of responsibility even as that is happening. So you can take a look at that story. She was injured during the protest, and how police conceal evidence after taking lives of innocents. That's on the front page of the Standard newspaper. You can take a look at your favorite newspaper and read for yourself. Let me take a quick question here. Dan, there was a question which was meant for you on Twitter. Someone says that Dan alipotea wapi? Kwani ulikuwa honeymoon. That's just a concerned Kenyan. Okay, you can answer that question.
You didn't tell us some of these things. I took a media break, and it was important to reflect. And sometimes I think my panelists can agree that you empty a lot, but then you need to be refilled. So I think it's important sometimes to take time to refresh yourself. So I took Reuters out of the media, but it's good to now come back and build the nation.
All right. Yeah. Karibu sana. Okay, so
but do they know anything about the honeymoon?
Why are you avoiding the question? And by the way, it's a lady.
No,
I just want to know.
I have just clarified that it was a break to just refresh myself.
Okay, gentlemen, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for coming. We have to go and build Kenya in other positions. Asante sana Olimodoyo Wedu, who is a political analyst. Jagwenga, if you know what Jagwenga means. Thank you so much for coming. Wakili George Kithe, asante sana.
Thank you.
How is Kilifi doing?
Kilifi is well.
Okay.
Kumenyesha. Tuko na mahindi. We're good. We're not complaining.
All right.
Other things tutasema.
Tutaongea hapo kando. Dan, asante sana.
You're welcome. Asante sana. Thanks for hosting us.
Karibu sana. All right. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Victor Lo. Have a good morning. Bye-bye.
With his first career goal.
Ni muda wa kuhesabu kwa ajili ya kusherekea fasili na asili ya soka barani Afrika, ligi za ndani na magwiji wasiotambulika.
Mangeni Alvin anaichanja ndani uzuri. David!
Michuano ya CAF ya mataifa ya Afrika 2024 ni njia ya kuzindua kupanua mtandao wa wachezaji ulimwenguni. Timu itakayoshinda itazawadiwa dola za Marekani milioni 3.5 pamoja na kujivunia kulinyanyua kombe hilo. Pata manufaa zaidi kutoka kwa CHAN 2024 mubashara na kipute cha kipekee kwenye runinga ya KBC Channel 1, mwenzio wa dhati michezoni.
Hello, fabulous ladies. Welcome to the talk show that's all about sisterhood, empowerment, and unfiltered conversation. We will be focusing on women.
We believe in women.
We are really changing.
We are creating a safe space for women to connect, thrive, and share.
Just because you're a woman on a bike, you're labeled in a certain way.
It's not just a talk show, it's a movement.
When they are standing, we need to stand out.
From heartwarming tales to hilarious adventures.
They could ask me, Catherine, why are you learning?
We are turning the spotlight on women who are breaking barriers in their individual fields.
You have to have a vision.
You are the leaders of Kenya today.
Keeping it honest and relatable.
Mental health is real.
Yes.
Where there is no communication, there is no relationship.
Join the sisterhood on KBC TV for Dada's show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kenya. Wake up with Good Morning Kenya, the morning show that's got it all.
We dive deep into issues shaping our country.
Youth are a voice of a nation.
What is the next step for the young people?
Unpacking political landscape from Monday to Wednesday.
We discuss family matters.
It is very important to guard your relationship.
And for your health.
Someone doesn't wake up and they become an addict. It's in stages.
We've got you covered each and every Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Every Wednesday, it's all about the viewpoint.
A day in politics is like 1,000 years.
Unpacking the biggest stories of the week, getting you insights and getting you ready for your day.
And the package is not yet done. I get to fix your Thursday with some entertainment. Entertainment Thursday, it is.
Good morning, Kenya.
We shape your day.
Good Morning Kenya, every weekday morning on KBC Channel 1. The men and women in boots. Their core mandate to defend and protect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Republic of Kenya. Their bravery knows no limits.
Make a man go through the wall without breaking the wall.
Laziness. It is not in our vocabulary.
But what are their stories, their tales? Military Tales, every Saturday at 9 p.m. with Ben Troy and Joey.
Umeona kile nimeona? Nimeona nini? Nimeanza kuona mapaka shumi, masenga ng'ombe.
I am watching my weight.
Kama ni official tu na hakuna kitu buda.
Okay, na mbona unakaa kama mtu ameuza shamba ya babio ukakula pesa yote? Unanivurutia nini kama ng'ombe?
Mjana vivi. Kadonge alibaje nyinyi. Wewe,
kuna mtu amekuja akakula ndio akaileta hapa. Hivi ni sawa kweli?
Vitimbi hotel iko na pepo.
Nasema mimi ni pastor. Na nasema nimekuja
unakuta unatengeleza.
Kutoa mapepo kwa hotel.
Ni nani?
Indeed, you're watching Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Migwena. We shift gears and talk about incentivizing the fight against pollution within the lake basin. Remember that Lake Victoria is one of the lakes that serves 3 East African countries, and there was a time it had too much water hyacinth and also issues of pollution within the lake basin. That is what we need to address right now. And joining me live from Kisumu is Victoria Adwet. Victoria is the speaker and also from Kisumu Youth Wash Project. Victoria, welcome to Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed, when we talk about incentivizing this fight against pollution within the lake basin. Why is it important now?
Thank you, Mike. As you've said, my name is Victoria Adwet. I'm the speaker to the Kisumu Youth Wash Parliament. Now, Kisumu Youth Wash Parliament is a youth-led organization in Kisumu County that empowers young people to be at the forefront when it comes to water, sanitation, and hygiene matters. Now, on to the question you've asked me as to why incentivizing is important. I'd like to start from the Constitution of Kenya, Article 43, that talks about every Kenyan has a right, to sustainable access to clean and safe water in adequate quantities. Yet you find the clean and safe is at the limelight, because when we get our water polluted, then we are sure of the water not being safe, the water not being clean. So addressing pollution in all the regions, not only the lake region, is very important. But now in the context of the lake region, I'd also take us to probably the institutions such as WRA that was established with the Water Act. You find that they are responsible for ensuring that our water resources are well managed, but you find that pollution is still an issue that we need to address. A good example is now in this particular region. Why do we need to incentivize? We have a very nice freshwater lake here, yet pollution keeps on jeopardizing, access to clean water by the community. And incentivizing makes us to move away from ensuring that incentivizing makes people to comply, and that one makes it easier to manage the pollution rather than enforce.
Indeed. And also, you're big on protecting or safeguarding water bodies and access to protection of water sources within the lake basin. What drives that?
Thank you so much. I would say, as Kisumu Youth Wash Parliament, I would start by talking about an activity we conducted recently. Funded by the Catchment to Tap project by Worldwide Fund, the Kisumu Youth Wash Parliament recently collected data on the status of integrated water resource management in Kisumu County. We wanted to find out, what are people doing about our water resources? Are they polluted? Are we protecting them? Are we ensuring that there is recharge in the water sources? And the findings were very interesting, because you find we abstract, but we are not keen on how there is recharge. And this report is yet to be released, but you find some of the recommendation was that any infrastructure or funding that goes towards infrastructure for WASH, a percentage should go back to catchment protection. A percentage should go back to ensuring that our water resources are actually well managed and taken care of. So what drives us, number one, as Kisumu Youth Wash Parliament, is you find that we are located here. As Victoria Adwet, I have been in this county since I was born, and I have seen, the clean shorelines moving to plastic polluted shorelines. I have seen fishermen, coming with big, after fishing, they're coming back with a lot of fish. And currently that is not the case. So this matter, when you're talking about pollution, it is not only an environmental matter, but it is something that puts justice. It's something that puts the community at risk, because we depend on the fresh water. So I think that is the first thing that actually motivates us to do what we do. We found that there is a gap that we can fill. There is a space whereby we young people can actually fill to ensure that, one, the water resources are well taken care of, well managed, and two, to ensure that policies speak to protection. As I said, compliance rather than enforcement.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We are also joined by Gunnar Fjohog, who is the chair and initiator of Lake Victoria Great Initiative. He joins us live from Norway. Good morning, Gunnar.
see you, but yes.
Yeah, now we are talking about incentivizing the fight against pollution within the lake basin. And I will throw the same question I threw to Victoria to you. Why is it important now?
My focus is basically this problem with the water hyacinth, which occurred in Lake Victoria from the 60s and 70s and exploded from the 80s and 90s, and still have a great negative impact on the life in the lake. And that will continue as long as we don't get control over the water hyacinth. The water hyacinth don't belong to Africa, don't belong to Asia. It came to Africa in the 1840s, and now is spread all over the continent. It's have a credible growth rate, and it's killing the life as we know it, and it destroys the fishery. Take Lake Tana in Ethiopia. The fishery there is already collapsed because of this plant.
Yeah, and speaking of hyacinth, it has rocked Lake Victoria for years, and as you've said, affecting the life within that region. So how would you rate the efforts to deal with it so far?
You know, when I started to read about this, I understand that there is a lot of science and a lot of research done about this plant, and it's and there has been a lot of initiative taken during the years to erase the plant or to stop the spread of the plant, but the most of them has failed. And important reason for this is because I think it is impossible to erase. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that it's very difficult to make money out of this plant. But at the same time, if we don't do anything, the fish will die and the life in the lakes and the rivers will be destroyed as we know it today. So the best we can hope is to control it. And maybe the only way to control it is to mobilize and motivate the people who are living around the lake to harvest it and process it. It is possible to make suitable products out of this plant, but that is not to say that you can make a good business out of it.
Then, out of it, what do you think can solve this problem, Mr. Gona, from your perspective? Because you're saying it may not be possible to erase it completely, but what can be done to solve this problem?
Yes, the system, me and my team is trying to build up, because the team I've gathered, we have skills in making bioethanol out of the plant, making fertilizer, making animal feed. You can also make furniture and a lot of other things. But since this has let's say, a kind of limitless growth, we are talking about 8% growth per day. We are talking about millions and millions and millions of tons every year, which is growing in Lake Victoria. So to control it, we also must figure out what kind of products there is a limitless need for, and that is products like animal feed, it's products like clean energy, bioethanol or charcoal or biogas, and it's of course fertilizer, which there is an incredible great need for, especially in arid zones, but actually all places where you have crops, you will need fertilizer, and this is organic fertilizer. What is especially dangerous with this plant is that maybe not when it's on the surface. Many people are saying, no, it's not a big problem, you don't see so much of it, but what's happening is that there is a balance between how much it's growing and how much it's sinking to the bottom. So I have calculated that there is 40, 50, 60 million tons of water hyacinth which are sinking to the bottom of Lake Victoria every year, and on the bottom it starts an anaerobe putrefaction. It's producing methane, take away all the oxygen. The breeding places will be destroyed. The fish escape, and often the fish is dying. So, but also because of this biomass which are sinking to the bottom, also the bottom of the lake is building, coming up. It's we are talking about a half meter, 1 meter, 1.5, and 2 meter with sediments which has been built up the last 40, 50 years. So slowly, the lake will be sunk, and in the swallow areas there is already starting this process. So again, how to deal with it? As people already is doing, some places they are collecting water hyacinth and making fertilizer. Other places they are making bioethanol or charcoal. Also many places around Vinam Gulf they are making handicraft. But unfortunately this is too little, and hopefully not too late, because all these people, they are collecting the water hyacinth only outside their own doorstep. But there is huge areas that no one is collecting water hyacinth, and also where there is dangerous to collect water hyacinth. And that's why I'm saying that also the government, the counties, NGOs must enter the scene and being a part of organizing these to huge harvesting, a lot of harvesting, and process the plant and make suitable products out of it, like fertilizer, animal feed, energy, which there is a limitless need for. Yes.
Indeed. And also, Victoria, you know, the issue of water hyacinth has been there for quite a long time. And also couple that with industrial pollution, it just exacerbates the problem. Now, at the community level, looking at the community involvement, what practical incentives can help motivate local communities to effectively participate in the exercise of the cleanup of the lake?
The most important is that
I think
benefit
community should be at the center of what we are doing. You find that when we are coming up with incentives, community should be at the center of the kind of incentives we are talking about. And for sustainability purposes, the incentives, one, should promote livelihood. You find that when we are telling the community members, you know what, don't plant near these water sources, you give them an alternative. And the alternative could be other sources of livelihoods. That makes the community, number one, it promotes sustainability, and there is the involvement of the community. Also, a way of involving the community is institutionalizing these incentives in the local systems, whereby community members know that by doing this, then automatically I get to gain this. A third way of incentivizing the community is ensuring that we create we promote green skills or green jobs and social enterprises, because we want the community to be at the center of the actions that we are taking, because the pollution problem should start from the community. Therefore, my thoughts are that community should be involved, be it in public participation. Communities should be involved when we are coming up with these policies and laws, so that it speaks to or it answers to their needs at local level. Also, you've talked about the industries. You know, community waste is more anthropogenic, but when we are talking about big organizations, they are the main polluters, releasing chemical waste, releasing effluent that is actually the main polluters of our water resources. Now, how can we incentivize them? You find that probably we create some subsidy for these organizations, because that is where the problem is, if you asked me.
But then again, Victoria, does it mean that without incentivization, these companies cannot, or these industries cannot take the responsibility of ensuring that there's no pollution from their side?
Not really. They ought to. All this while they know so well that they should comply. But has that been the case? Incentivizing simply means that, you know, you are showing some form of benefit. Somebody gets to gain something, and that promotes compliance. That is a better way, as opposed to enforcing, as opposed to telling the companies to close down, because we would go into other logistics, like people are being employed in this organization. So how do we ensure that they comply? We should strive towards, you know what, preventive rather than curative. Preventing the pollution before it takes place, rather than waiting for the pollution to take place. Then now we are looking for solutions to cure. So incentivizing only brings about the benefit, the value that they get to enjoy when they comply, and that is a better way of reducing pollution in our water sources.
Indeed. We're going to take a very short break. This conversation continues after this short break. Stay with us.
Usemaji wa uongo ni jambo ambalo limepigwa vita katika Uislamu, ila kuna mambo ambayo yanaweza kupelekea kuweza kuficha ukweli.
Maisha yake Nabii Ibrahim alilazimika kuficha ukweli mara kadhaa kutokana na sababu tofauti, zikiwemo pale Nabii Ibrahim alipoficha ukweli baada ya kuvunja masanamu yote yaliyokuwa yakiabudiwa.
Kwa hivyo hili ni jambo ambalo kwamba kila Muislamu lazima afahamu malengo mahsusi aliyoletewa hapa duniani, huwa si lingine isipokuwa ni kumwabudu Mola wake.
Ni mwaliko wa kuishi kwa unyenyekevu, matumaini na moyo wa shukrani, kila siku, kila saa, kila pumzi.
La ilaha illa
All right, welcome back. We are talking about incentivizing the fight against pollution within the lake basin. And Gunnar, you know, this problem of water hyacinth has persisted for a long time. And what do you think, or how can the solutions be financed to ensure that this problem is mitigated?
It's not up to me to find out, but I think that it's basically this problem must be addressed to the authorities, to the counties, to the government in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, and other countries where they have to be done some act. I'm using a metaphor. In Norway, we have a lot of snow in the winter, and this cost us some billions every year to remove. And if we don't remove it, the society stops. We have to remove it, and it costs always 100%, and there is no income. If we look at this water hyacinth, it will also cost 100% to remove it. But if we make different kind of products out of this, maybe we will cover 10%, 30%, 40%, maybe 50, 60, 70% of the cost. So, but I have a problem to see that it can be business out of removing the water hyacinth. So there will always be a gap. Let's say 30% or 30% of the cost will not be covered by the income. But on the other side, if it gives people work, it will do the health to the people better. The fisheries will not collapse. Only income from the fisheries in Lake Victoria, the worth of the fisheries is $600-700 million each year. If this is collapsing, who shall pay for that? If we deliver good food fodder to the market, then the yield of the milk will not go down as much as it do now in the dry periods. The same with the meat. Yes. So that's the gap. If we manage to harvest, give thousands and thousands of people work with this, process it, give clean energy, fertilizer, so the agriculture will be boosted. That is society economy. And what this will give back to the society, it's difficult to count. So that's why I'm saying that, yes, it costs something to harvest, but it gives back directly to the people who are working with it, the people in the local communities, and it will also help the economy and the people health and make better livelihoods. I 100% agree with Victoria, which is also talking about the same things, that this must gain the people around the lake. And of course, she's talking about the pollution. Water hyacinth is another kind of pollution that people like Victoria and our initiative, we should put our forces together and work together on these things, because if we don't stop the pollution, the lake will also die from the pollution, not only because of the water hyacinth.
Indeed. Victoria, you know, how can you say the youth have been involved in the efforts to avert cases of pollution to Lake Victoria?
Pardon? You have to repeat.
Thank you.
This addressed to Victoria. Victoria, if you can hear me.
Your question.
Youth. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, the youth. How have they been involved in these efforts?
All right. Youth have been involved, yes, but there is still much that needs to be done when it comes to youth involvement. Because when you're talking about youth involvement, it shouldn't be to tick a box. When you're talking about public participation, whereby you get to hear, you get to take what the youth have to say about how the pollution or the waste should be managed, then we still have a gap there. There is that need for meaningful youth engagement when we are talking about pollution in this lake region. And meaningful youth engagement starts with the policies. Are youth part and parcel of these conversations? Are their opinions, are their recommendations being put being considered when we are coming up with the policies and regulations. It's not only the youth, but also the community. There is need for that collective approach whereby everybody is part and parcel of this communication if we want to get it right. Secondly, youth in Kisumu are doing wonderful things when it comes to probably waste management. Let me give that as an example. You find that we have youth who are in the I know of one organization that deals with organic waste, you know, they are creating fertilizers. I know of another youth group that is dealing with collecting the waste and segregating the waste. So one incentive, if you ask me, would be having these champions. It does not necessarily have to be monetary. You find that if we could even recognize an organization like Kisumu Youth Wash Parliament is big on ensuring that our water resources are actually not being polluted and that the community embraces the importance of these resources. You know, if we had even non-monetary form of incentives whereby there is the recognition, there is capacity building, there is skilling, you know, this would also encourage other youth groups. It would encourage other young people to be part and parcel of taking care of these water resources, because this is a collective responsibility. It is not a one-man kind of responsibility.
Indeed. And Mr. Gunnar, when it comes to industrial responsibilities in matters to do with averting cases of pollution within the lake basin, and as Victoria has put it, would it be prudent to formulate a rewarding system where the environmentally responsible companies are recognized, and would that create a healthy competition in matters to do with environmental conservation, especially within this region?
I'm not sure if I understand your question.
I'm asking if let's say, for instance, companies that comply with matters to do with cleaner environment within the lake basin and recognizing these efforts, would that create healthy competition to ensure that efforts of maintaining a cleaner Lake Victoria create a better competition within the lake basin?
I'm not sure if I understand what you're asking about. Competition about what?
You know, efforts of, you know, Victoria is saying incentivizing as opposed to enforcing would work better. Now, for industries within the lake basin region, recognition of their efforts in reducing pollution to Lake Victoria, would that create a healthy competition amongst the companies that are within that area in their efforts to conserve the environment?
But you know, I know there is a lot of pollution from industry and agriculture and from people and in Lake Victoria, and I know that this also have you can say as a positive effect of increasing the growth of water hyacinth, but and it's also a threat against the life in Lake Victoria. But I have not gone deep into this question, but I know that if we start up and scale up the work with water hyacinth, then it will be also natural to look at all the other resources for pollution or for killing the life in Lake Victoria. But I'm not the right person to address these questions. I want to say a little bit more about my team and what we're actually doing. Because let's say one of the partners is East Africa. It's a company located in Kisumu. They are making 1,500 and 2,000 liter bioethanol every day. In Asembo Bay, we have a local community called Dalarieko. They have used water hyacinth and make their own fertilizer now in 15, 16 years. And it involved 15,000 people, and they are making 3 and 4 crops per year. and are no more afraid of hunger. We have a person like Patrick Odiambo, who have been working with water hyacinth in 30 years, and now he's recently been in Ethiopia and learning people to how they make briquettes out of water hyacinth. He's ready to do a great job in Lake Victoria, but what we have in common, that is we have no one of us are investors. We need support, and we need financial support to start off this necessary work in much bigger scale than what now private people are doing around the lake. And when we start up, then of course it will be natural for me to also cooperate with organizations like the organization Victoria is leader for, and see how we can make synergies out of these things. Thank you.
Victoria, is there a way that you are engaging the county government within that area to ensure that your efforts of reducing pollution within that area are boosted?
Some of us has been in contact with leadership in counties, but actually,
specifically the Department of Water, Sanitation and Hygiene.
Yes. Yeah, continue, Victoria, continue.
All right. I was saying we are working hand in hand with the government because when we are talking about management of these water resources, when we are talking about water within the county government within the county of Kisumu, then we cannot negate the importance of the county government of Kisumu. And we are specifically working with the Department of Water, and it has been very vital because whenever we are having this public engagement, whenever we require the goodwill of the county government, when we are coming up with our activities, when we are having this awareness creation, when we are going for the cleanups, when we had the journey of water, the county government is part and parcel of what we are doing because they are mandated to ensure that, people are living in a conducive manner. Water is available to the community. And also, speaking of the government, the water service provider, which water is it providing? It is water from the lake and river Kibos. So there is need for this water to actually be in good condition because the more polluted the water, the more difficult it is to treat and for the community to use. So we are working hand in hand with these institutions to ensure that the community is involved and the youth are part and parcel of ensuring that we are reducing pollution within the lake basin.
Mr. Guna, as the chair and initiator of Lake Victoria Green Initiative, how have you been working with the communities around to ensure that your efforts also are boosted?
Well, we have been in contact with some community leaders, but I feel it's even if we get in contact with them, they are interested in what we are doing. They think we are doing a good work, a great work, but no one has until now said that this is something we want to try to finance, help you with, find a place where we can have our base or help us with equipment or help us with search for funds or have their own funds. Unfortunately, too often I feel that governmental people, they expect that we shall come with the money or have the investors' money, but we haven't these investors' money, and I don't think it's easy to get investors to come with money on this because they don't see any profit in it. This isn't a profit. This is social economy. This is society economy, and it's a question about rescue a lake which has great importance for the livelihood and also for the local economy and for the feeding the people. And that's what we are risking here. We have no action. no action is the same as the lake will die after 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years. And not die like really dying, but dying like, let's say the fisheries goes from 500,000 ton every year to 200,000 ton or 100,000 ton. The governmental people must look to what the science is saying about this and what's happening in other lakes. Also, let's say Lake Baringo in Kenya, which has more than half of the fisheries has disappeared. As I said earlier, Lake Tana in Ethiopia, the fisheries collapsed for 3, 4, 5 years ago, and we see the same pattern every places where this plant is growing and taking over the lakes and the rivers. It's dying from the top. These big pads is stealing oxygen, and the fish can hardly not live under these pads. And it's dying from the bottom, where there is putrefaction and producing methane. So that's what we have. My initiative, we show that this is possible. We are doing things which are doing in other countries or are already doing around Lake Venum and in Lake Victoria. But this must be scaled up 1,000-folds and 10,000-folds. And for doing that, we need financial support. And I think it's only the government who can go in front of manage and fix that. We cannot do that because there is no profit in it. It's only good politics for the people.
All right. Victoria, looking at policy and governance issues surrounding this issue, what do you think are the gaps that are existing, and how best can they be addressed to ensure that we mitigate cases of pollution within the lake basin?
Thank you. Talking of policies, I would start with the water regulations, water resources regulations. Recently, there were some new regulations that came into being, but do we understand them? Do we know what is inside? Because things to do with probably affluent discharge is embedded in these policies. And that is one of the roles that we are filling in as Kisumu Youth Wash Parliament. We are breaking down some of these complex policies for the community, for the local man to understand what it entails, what the government expects of us, what is our role in ensuring that our water sources are not polluted. So ensuring that we understand what is in the policies, then we would be able to identify the gaps and how to fill in those gaps. Secondly, as Kisumu Youth Wash Parliament, through an organization known as KEWASNet, we have gone through a social accountability training. And in turn, we are sharing the same with the community, whereby how can the community hold duty bearers accountable when it comes to protecting these water resources, you know, through things like social audits, so that the community can actually be part and parcel and question. They do not have to go to the county whenever they see probably a company that is nearby releasing untreated effluent in our water resources. So giving the people the power is my solution, whereby the people understand the role they need to play. They understand that this ought not to be. This is the procedure to be followed. So through social accountability, we young people are actually taking a hold of what needs to be done and ensuring that it is being done. Thank you.
Mr. Ghana, if we are to infuse incentives fully, how do we measure the effectiveness of these incentives in matters that we are talking about, incentive-driven programs that are meant to mitigate the problem of pollution within Lake Victoria? Mr. Guna?
Asking me?
Yes, yes. I'm asking if we are talking about the incentives-driven programs, how do we measure the metrics, or what is a metric of measuring their effectiveness in a bid to ensure that we mitigate the problem of pollution within Lake Victoria?
Again, I'm first of all dealing with the water hyacinth, but let me. I have just been 2 weeks in Kisumu and Winam Gulf and visiting Homa Bay, Kendu Bay, Dunga Bay, and discussed this with many people. And only in Winam Gulf there is approximately 300 places where is landing places for fish. Many of these landing places is more or less destroyed of water hyacinth, and many fishermen are suffering because there is not so much fish, and they have problem to take the boats out and in from the landing sites. Every such place has an organization called BMU, Beach Management Unit, and we met 3 of them, and we are saying that we want to clean the beaches. We want to start intensively harvesting water hyacinth. We want to have processing this offshore, onshore, of course, and some can be processed and used at the site. Other things we want to bring to a bigger processing place for making animal feed or bioethanol or something like that. And everyone is saying you are highly welcome, because this initiative can create works. It can restore the breeding places and the fishing places, and it can bring life to half-dying local societies. The incentive is, of course, they can have a richer life, but it's also it bring money to the people who are among the poorest people in Kenya, and it will, and then I can just repeat what I said. It gives work, it's better health, it get children can go to the school, but also as a part of this, it can be, what shall we do with all the garbage? What shall we do with the plastic? We know that, what shall we do with the mud? There is building up layer by layer by layer of muds on the shores in the lakes. And the fisherman is telling that when these pads of water hyacinth is sinking, they are also the plastic is sinking to the bottom. And one told us that the fish from Lake Victoria is banned in the European market because of the microplastic in the fish. So this is also dramatic for the people's health around the lake, which are dependent on this fish. So I see only positive things to doing to manage to get enough fundings so we can start up this work, and then also start working with the pollution from the stools, from the plastic, from the agriculture, etc., etc.
Victoria, I'll give you a minute to tender in your submissions.
All right, thank you. Mike, I remember when I was in school very many years ago, position 1, 2, and 3 were awarded. You know, they got some sort of recognition. They would be called in front of the assembly and recognized. So incentivizing is actually very important. Getting to single out those who are doing it the right way would actually encourage some other people or other organizations to also be part and parcel of the process, ensuring that youth, women, you know, the community, inclusivity in coming up with some of these policies would also ensure that we get it right when it comes to pollution. Climate change, we are already facing water availability risks. So if we add that to pollution, then we are actually bringing about a lot of, there is no water security. So Incentivizing would actually enhance compliance. Incentivizing would make youth to be part and parcel of this process willingly. It would make the community to be part and parcel willingly. But also when we are talking about involving the community, we need to incentivize in a way that the community, in a way that feeds to what the community needs, you know. Incentivizing probably with a water tank, whereas the community needed something else, sanitation facilities would not do it. So let us have an inclusive approach whereby we involve all these players. Then we would get incentivizing as a way of pollution control within the lake region, right? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Firog, your closing words.
Can I add something?
Yes.
Can I add something to what Victoria said now?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Thank you. One of our partners is an organization called WISE, Women in Sustainable Enterprises. That's a Kisumu located led by Odera. They are doing a lot of good things for youth. And one of the things is that the network with between 150 and 200 women in Siaya and in Homa Bay, which are making harvesting water hyacinth and making handicraft, beautiful handicraft from water hyacinth, and that's a good thing. But they are using only some, and you know it's a limited need for flip-flops and furnitures. So what we are offering is to making products which there is a limitless need for, because if there is a limitless need for a product made from water hyacinth, then we also can organize limitless harvesting. So that is also important is in these plans that we are not needed to stop harvesting water hyacinth because no one is buying our products, because there will always be need for organic fertilizer, for animal feed, and for clean energy.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Gunnar Firhog, who is the chair and initiator of Lake Victoria Green Initiative, and also Victoria Adwet, who is the speaker of Kisumu Youth Wash Parliament, joining us on Good Morning Kenya to talk about incentivizing the fight against pollution. Lake Basins, this is where we end this conversation. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Mike Migui. Vivian Ndego is up next with Family Check.
Ni muda wa kuhesabu kwa ajili ya kusherekea fasili na asili ya soka barani Afrika, ligi za ndani na magwiji wasiotambulika.
Mangeni Alvin anaichanja ndani uzuri, David!
Michuano ya CAF ya mataifa ya Afrika 2024 ni njia ya kuzindua kupanua mtandao wa wachezaji ulimwenguni. Timu itakayoshinda itazawadiwa dola za Marekani milioni 3.5 pamoja na kujivunia kulinyanyua kombe hilo. Pata manufaa zaidi kutoka kwa CHAN 2024 mubashara na kipute cha kipekee kwenye runinga ya KBC Channel 1, mwenzio wa dhati michezoni.
Got the fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine every single Monday only on KBC Channel 1. Remember, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably never happened.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kenya.
Wake up with Good Morning Kenya, the morning show that's got it all.
We dive deep into issues shaping our country.
Youth are a voice of a nation.
What is the next step for the young people?
Unpacking political landscape from Monday to Wednesday.
We discuss family matters.
It is very important to guard your relationship.
And for your health,
Someone doesn't wake up and they become an addict. It's in stages.
we've got you covered each and every Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Every Wednesday, it's all about the viewpoint.
A day in politics is like 1,000 years.
Unpacking the biggest stories of the week, getting you insights and getting you ready for your day.
And the package is not yet done. I get to fix your Thursday with some entertainment. Entertainment Thursday, it is.
Good morning, Kenya.
We shape
your day.
Good Morning Kenya, every weekday morning on KBC Channel 1.
Into our next conversation of the day right here, and it is a family check. We are going to be discussing on ways of raising the next generation. That is our topic of conversation right now, and I am pleased to be joined by two guests right here in studio, beginning with Reverend Elizabeth Obat. Reverend is an educator, a theologian, a trainer, and a conference speaker as well. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And right next to her, we have Might. Might is a trainer, a mentor, and is also the CEO Pro Mentors Africa. Welcome to the program. Let's get into this conversation of the day. That is raising the next generation. When you talk about raising the next generation, just painting a picture, you know, of how that should be. Or let us first of all begin by comparing how the previous generations were raised, and by that I mean how our mothers were raised compared to now, how this new generation is being raised. How can we compare the notes from the two?
I think for starters, we must admit that there's a huge difference. There's a huge world of difference from the way I was raised and the way the young people are being raised now. Our parents were the generation that did not speak, and really they passed it on to us. The children were there to be seen and not to be heard. So parents' ideas, information was law, and it was never questioned. So it made the parents the final say, and children had no opportunity. So you did wrong, you were disciplined. You made mistakes, you were disciplined. Things of right and wrong were black and white. It was clear. This is what is expected of you, and if you do this, you will get discipline. And discipline was also severe, quite severe.
So that's what you can say is the difference between, you know, how we are raising the new generation now compared to back in the day.
Yes.
According to you, Might, maybe what you can also share the differences you feel are there, and also what do you feel we can borrow maybe from how children used to be raised back in the day?
This is very interesting, very interesting. But I think how our parents were raised, how I was raised before, to me it was very good. It made me to be who I am. Today I'm with the young people, I'm dealing with this society. I'm not saying this time is wrong, but a lot is needed. We need to borrow a lot from the old. We need to borrow a lot from our parents there were things were set right, it is this, and you could follow. And I think hawa wazazi walikuwa wajanja sana kutuliko. Ukiangalia sana, no matter the technology and everything, some technology is good. On the other side, if it's not nurtured very well, it is distort parenting.
Yes.
So we need to up our game today. So kitambo it was easy. It moved well. The culture ilikuwa inaji unfold. Vizuri sana. Siku hizi comparing the today baze nakumbuka madhangu angekuangalia hivi macho. Nilikuwa napika chapo. Non-verbal communication, sign. It was too perfectly toka maze.
Unarushiwa TV jicho you
jipange.
know.
Sasa mtu wangu unamwambia ati unamwangalia macho ingine akwambia ai mama unaniangaliaje? You see, I don't say it's disobedience, but I think we have lost somewhere. And the way things are moving, if parenting doesn't change, is us as parents today don't change the methodology and the approach, then some things itakuwa changamoto. Think even about spirituality. Before I could join the church, nilijua tu ndaenda church. Siku hizi una preach mazao na kucheki tu. Unajiongelesha unaona nika story ya jaba. So a lot is needed. But between the two, both of them are parenting. And even today there is parenting, but a lot is needed today.
You feel like more is needed to be, added on to the kind of parenting that is happening right now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And especially shida iko sisi wazazi sahi. Unajua tuko na breed ya kitambo na ya sasa tunadhania tutaleta hii ya kitambo kwa vijana today. Ni noma.
Yeah. And even in the political world there have been conversations on how to bring dialogue, and try and bridge that intergenerational gap, because there seems to be a really huge gap between, the Gen Zs and the millennials and, the Gen X and whatnot. Just what is missing? What would you say is amiss, and where did we get things wrong?
I think for me, one thing that stands out is the question of presence. Parents were present. Being raised up, I was raised up in Nairobi, grown and bred here. But my parents were present. I knew the schedule. Mom and dad left home with us to school, to work, and by 5, my dad was home. And he picked us along the way and brought us home. So we were all home. So our parents were present. They took care of us. They were present to see what we were doing, right and wrong. And they were able to correct right in the nip before it grew up, before wrong behavior grew. It was clipped. And the laws were clear. Now, matters of church, you could not discuss. We were put in the car, all of us, and we were taken to church. You like it, you don't, Sunday morning, up, you go to church. And I think that formed a very clear basis for us in terms of what is right, what is wrong, what's acceptable, and what's not acceptable. My mama was a teacher. She's since gone. But I tell you, like he's saying, Mom would say this is what should be done. And it was done. And she was there to train. She trained me how to cook, She was not absent at all. So our parents were present. I think that is one of the things I find different with the now. The parents that we are now, we have so many extracurricular activities. After work, we still go to class. We are going to do extra courses. And by the time mommy comes home, most likely, the kids are asleep. Yeah, I remember a story that was said by a young child who told the mother, Mommy, why didn't you go to school when you were young? Because she's waiting every day. Mama is not coming. So this particular day, she stayed up. And she asked her mom, why didn't you go to school when you were young? So the issue of presence, I think we are not at home. We are elsewhere and we are very busy looking for extra shilling, but also just doing many other things.
The matter of presence that you've just brought, you brought forth, that's very true. Like nowadays, that presence and their attention is no longer there. It's not as much as it used to. But then again, can we really blame the new age parents on that, for that? You know, times have changed. The economy isn't, you know, looking so good. The parents are toiling and working so hard to ensure that their children get the best of the best in terms of education, a meal and whatnot, just to be able to provide the basic needs that they should provide. So how do we strike that balance? Because you can't say parents should stay at home so that they give attention to their children and whatnot. And it's kind of hard, you know, like I get where you're coming from and I totally understand. But then again, there's that side of things need to be done. Like things just need to happen. This parent needs to work maybe 2 or 3 jobs in order for them to provide the best for their children. So how do we strike that balance so that the presence is also not amiss in their children?
Yeah, let me tell you, I can add something what Pasi have said. Yeah? It was not like me, my parents were not present. But there was community parenting also, in addition. My dad was in Nairobi, my mom was in Nanyuki. My dad could come late, but there was community parenting also. You could even be disciplined by your neighbor. So there was something, a collective parenting by the old time, collectively.
Yeah.
Kuna kitu ungefanya juu maneiba wafanye. Ungebaki kwa ploti, juu mimi niligrow ya dando, baki kwa ploti na watu wote wameenda church. There's a community parenting. So there was inclusivity on parenting. But there are so many things that I think we can borrow. And we cannot say today is wrong. And to me, I think the churches, organization, they need to focus more on the 21st parenting. To look about where is this, how do we synergize? Today, children are more informed because of technology.
Yeah.
But this information, some is extreme. We may say education and everything. And that's why I support the CBC, because it is taking us back. Pasi have said she was taught how to cook. Today hakuna. Unajisort unaoadema alafu anakuambia mazee mimi siwezi pika. CBC is telling me that mtoi atapewa assignment and I have to cook with that kid for tomorrow. So it's taking us, to me CBC is contributing also to concept of parenting. Na ndio naona maparent wengi wanaudhika inachokesha because there's involvement. We are going back to where we are. We are going back to where we lost it. And truly we lost it. Mimi kiangalia kama watu wangu wazee because so busy moving up and down. Lakini mtu yana aidadi assignment yangu ni makie na jana nilifika late. So ananiforce mapema niamuke niangalie assignment vile alifanya. So it's taking me back. And it's telling me back that no matter looking for money, no matter looking for these kids, I also need them.
So the word intention now comes in.
Yeah, it has to be intentional.
Yeah.
We need to appreciate the reality that even with the community parenting that Maichi is saying, the script was the same. The parents had the same values, the same ideas. Today, the values are different, depending on whose child you are. Some children are coming from very wealthy or very people who can access facilities, equipment, you know, the devices. Not all of us have the devices.
That's true.
And those who have the devices, sometimes those devices are a disadvantage because it has opened a whole world of information, a whole world of stuff that children are getting to learn of much earlier. You know, age appropriateness is not within the device cannot control age appropriateness. So you hear your child has picked up a certain behavior and it's not happening in your house and you're wondering, where did they get it from? So it is device. It is also about unsupervised parenting. It's unsupervised. That script that was the same today is totally different. The script is different in your house, it's different in the neighbors, it's different in the schools that our children go to. And some kids are ahead of others in terms of technology, and technology has opened a whole wide world.
And the schools have brought competition. Before tulikuwa group of school, because ilikuwa Dandora 1 primary school, Dandora 2 primary school, Dandora 3. So there was like a village within. Saa hii utakuta ka academy within Dando. So it brings a certain education and technology. So within that area unakuta these kids are different from this. The way we are reasoning. So you find even by the time you're going to secondary school, there is a lot of crashes of culture within the kids. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of you get.
Yeah.
So I think these things are there, but I think it's the high time to come back.
Yeah.
The high time even to come back to, because the education system, it's a key information of today's parenting. Parents cannot do alone.
Of course.
It's a collective issue.
Yeah.
And then school cannot do alone. So how are we bringing this collective angle?
Yeah.
How are we bringing now your show? It's not playing the part of telling people we must do this.
Yeah.
So I think now a lot of stakeholders need to come on board for us to nurture the next generation.
Yeah.
If you don't do like that, it becomes hard. Kitambo, it was very hard to see a boy and a boy. Even it was not hard. You could not hear such. A girl and a girl, even in relationship. In fact, even if you think about those words, they are not even in any mother tongue. It was you could not even try. So this technology imefika pahali na ni mzuri bado that it is a swag. It is normal. Nakumbuka nikiwa form 2 ndio hii generation ilikuwa na changanikiwa nikafika form 2 nikatoboa masikio. And it was like hadi sasa. Na ilikuwa tu fun. Pia influence ya seko. But it's such a moment is like it's not acceptable. But sasa here to book yezi rudi and I had to go back to the line.
Yeah.
So there were some things that hata zinaku provoke tu wewe mwenyewe. Unajikuta tu lazima urudi kwa line.
That's true. Now, we're going to be getting much deeper into technology because, I mean, it is what it is right now and it's really shaping our society at the moment. But even before we get into that, there's something you had talked about, the fact that back in the day, a child was for the community. Like mtoto alikuwa ni wa jamii nzima. But right now, you even question somebody's child when you see them doing something that, when they are on the wrong, then you'll have to deal with the parents. Yeah, you'll have to answer, why are you questioning my child as who? Do you think we can be able to get back to that point where a child was the responsibility of the entire society? Are we ever going to get back to that?
It's possible.
How are we?
It's true.
Yeah,
I think it's possible, but it may take a different appearance, a different form, because that is what school does for us, the community created in school. Then I am of the opinion that we can also create as parents a community for our children through the people we interact with, our friends, our associates, you know. We gather people of like mind, because the idea is to have the same script. The same correct script, not just a script, but having the same correct script repeated in school, repeated among our friends, repeated at home, and you will have a result. But if we have so many clashing scripts, that's where we have the struggle. Mtoto ametoka nyumbani kwangu. I have taught them this is the right thing to do. They meet in school, and school is a major element because children spend all their life in school. Growing and maturing in school. It's so many years.
In fact, more time it is in school than with parents.
Than at home. So school is a socializing agent that cannot be ignored. So we have to be, parents have to be very intentional. Which school am I taking my child to? What does that school uphold? So that school supports the script I have at home. And that is possible. But then we also have the institution of church. And church, again, is a critical institution because every week, if at all we are maintaining what we were taught by our parents, children go to church every single week. And church has its lessons, it has its classes like Sunday school, all the way from children all the way to adult. There are all sorts of programs. If you would allow your child to engage in the programs that have been very specifically prepared for the children, age appropriate, then we can actually get back what we had initially.
All right.
Yeah.
Remember, you can also get to be part and parcel of this conversation. We have our WhatsApp line that you can send your messages via. That is 0716 103 301. 0716 103 301. Get to talk to us. Tell us, what are we doing differently? What can we do differently? Or do you feel like raising the next generation is a hard task now? What challenges are we facing in raising the next generation? Just get into the conversation and let us get to hear from you. Can we be able to go back to that communal setup whereby the child is for the entire community? We would love to hear from you. Now, speaking of technology, you know that we've definitely already gotten to mention in this conversation, and we can't run away from it. Where do we get to draw the line when it comes to technology, having in mind that that digital literacy is very important right now? We can't escape it. You can't say my child is not going to be, you know, with using gadgets and whatnot, because that digital literacy right now is the way to go. It is the now, and it is also the future. So how do we draw that line?
I think, as you were saying something, and comparing with the digital literacy, we need to reach somewhere that even the church, kuna Sunday school, kuna everything. Lakini wale watu hii, ule na wape ile Sunday school, ni mtu wa 1941. Hata wagite anything. We need to to hit the nail on the head. We had some seminars we have in Kahawa West, the Catholic Church, and we are trying to look, even as the people organizing, we are trying to look, which speaker do we bring that can fit in this generation?
Yeah.
Not a master because I'm a priest, I can fit there. Not because I'm a pastor, I can fit there. Sometimes unaweza jiongelesha, you'll talk to them, they will hear nothing. And even that nothing, they will not hear it well.
Yeah.
So it have reached a moment of us identifying talent within, temperament within the people also talking to our kids. You'll find there's a time we had a workshop somewhere, and somebody was speaking smartly. I was the next speaker. And the way this guy was speaking, it was for the boys, his boy child. And I could even take notes because I could see the content. But when I looked at the guys, the young boys and everything, wengine wako na wood, na wako na headphone, hawako hapo. So I looked about, I don't point finger to this mzee.
Yeah.
I became friend to this mzee to tap that knowledge, because he's an old mzee. And was a professor. I tap the knowledge, I inculcate the knowledge and translate it to the language the youth understand. In fact, that's a concept of technology. I can be in a position to get that knowledge, develop some clips and everything, develop some verbal and non-verbal tools, so that this young person, we can also enter to the same social media issues and start talking, start parenting differently. So I think, to me, and I speak to many schools, parents, and I love talking to the parents, what is our role? What are we doing? I speak to the pastors and priests, what method are we doing? Or are we applying to this? How are we identifying talents of people that can speak to our people? Not based on because I'm a PhD, no.
Yeah.
When you look about talent, I can have PhD, but I'm not, like in school, you could find a teacher, very smart, papers are smart, but akiwafunza, au get, na kuna mwalimu mwingine, akiwafunza huwezi sahau. So if we can try to identify those talents, because kuna wazazi wako na hizo matalent, kuna mapastors, kuna, mapasi wako na hizo matalent. Ikiwa mimi kwa church yangu, yes, I'm so much on university.
Yeah.
But am I much on the church? You get? So I better call that person, identifying talent, na nimulete kwa church yangu, because najua kuna pahali ata make impact. So what is happening? What is going wrong in competition within ourselves? I must be seen. No, identify each other talent. Ni identify mazeni kiita Vivian hapa hivi. Kusema tu hivi, asemeeni presenter, all these kids want to be next to you.
Yeah.
Mimi na miaka yangu 90 years, hakuna kitu inanibamba na. So how we can link the technology, one, is to get into that same technology and to get the methodology, those who are doing mentorship.
Okay.
To realize now, I need to get to this field. I need to understand this field. 2, if I'm going somewhere to talk to the young people, also use some machinery young people are using. How do I use that PowerPoint? How do I use some clips? How do I use... We can get into that. If I remain nile tu kubonga pale hivyo, sometimes they don't get anything. Or sometimes they get. And sometimes even tunaekelea Holy Spirit. At Holy Spirit anainterpret. No, also God give us wisdom. Proverbs 24:13, wisdom to realize, am I reaching them or not? So I think, I wish those who are in mentorship get into this technology.
Okay.
As they hit these things, you're also hitting it. Because you can't just keep quiet like there and say they will come. Sometimes they're not even coming.
That's true.
Sometimes wanakuja hata church, wanapiga tu stories zao. Alafu service imeenda, unasema vijana wanabaki. Wakibaki ni story yao. But hata wakibaki, for us to bring technology, how are you trying to inculcate in their language? How also, Vivian, do we get even a young person we have realized talented and everything and bring in this angle of mentorship so that we can have what we call peer-to-peer approach? Because peer-to-peer approach reach more than us.
That's true.
So we also need to identify young people who are talented and this, mentor them. Then the same young people will go and now translate.
And mentor the others.
And I'm telling you with that one, we're going to reach somewhere.
Okay.
It will not be equivalent the same, but different way, but somewhere parenting will.
I would also love to get your perspective on the same, you know, from an educator's point of view.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I would take another approach, whereas I agree with what he's saying. You know, a child is not born and ends up in school tomorrow. So for me, the question is foundational. In fact, there's a saying that the Catholics say, give me a child, and by the time they are age 7, I'll give back to you a Catholic. So the foundational years of a child are critical. And those are the years we are saying, parents, where are you? Where are you? Because beyond age 7, it has been proven, actually, the child has been molded and formed.
That's true.
So if we can work more with the child at the foundational years, during the foundational years, what are we teaching them? You know, one common thing that's happening today is that people are using phones as pacifiers for the children. The child cries in church or even at home. What are they given?
Yeah.
And you know, the phone, that device, is a teacher, and it also opens a whole wide world to the child. And you know, the people who have made this equipment, you click the wrong button and it brings a whole... So our children are being exposed to information that is not checked. And like we've said, I repeat again, age appropriate. So you've put this phone on the baby's hand, in the baby's hand, had you shut down all the others, you know? And then the child grows from, I don't know whether it's age 1. If you take the phone from them, you get a call, the child cries, throws tantrums, hits their heads on the ground. So some parents are actually buying a phone for a child and that is a smartphone. So they can play the games and you don't know what else is coming with the games. The adverts that just shoot up, you know? So the minute, for me the question is, at what age should we put this device in the hands of a child? And like we've said, the script is different. So your neighbor might be comfortable putting the phone in their hands very early, and the other devices, whether it's the tabs and access into just the media world. And that media world is not checked. There are things we can do, you know, like I know you can shut down certain things, but should we really, we need to ask that question, should we really put a phone in the hands of an infant?
But should also, ni uzembe ya wazazi pia. Because hata TV 24/7. And I'm telling you, unaona hizo maprogram ziko, you're communicating. Like now, because if your child psychologically amezoea TV, and right now the way they are talking about whatever, the vowel that they're pronouncing is different. And then you're putting ako kwa television 24/7, ako kwa phone, you're even complicating the speech. Mwalimu amewafunza hivi, Unajua sio kama zetu zimebadilika kabisa. So when they come now kila anasikiza na whatever is putting kwanza in that small age, it is complicating the speech of the child. And it is bringing a lot of difficulties.
Yeah, and
So,
even, you know, just speaking about that, maybe I can throw in a fact. You know, when you said, yes, the educators have that responsibility, the teachers have that responsibility since they spend the most time with children in school. But before they go there, and even statistics show that a child's brain develops rapidly in the first 5 years,
Absolutely.
with 90% of brain growth occurring before the age of